From the field notes of researcher Samir Al-Khatib, the road between the Farafra and Dakhla oases. It was around 11:20 p.m. when I began my journey along the desert road known as the Road of the Third Moon. I've never been one to believe in legends, even though my entire academic life revolves around studying them. I came here to uncover the origin of a tale that drivers whisper about in hushed tones, a road that never seems to end, and strange moons that light the desert each time someone passes, as if marking a path from another world entirely. I was driving alone in a sturdy four-wheel vehicle. All around me, there was nothing but an endless sea of sand, stretching to a horizon that seemed to melt into the night sky. There was no trace of life anywhere, just the hum of the engine and the vast, crushing silence of the desert. After what felt like an eternity, but was probably just an hour, I saw the first rock formation. It was a natural sculpture, a perfect crescent shape carved more by the relentless wind than by human hands. I couldn't help but mutter to myself, half amused, "Here's the first moon." So the legend begins. I took a quick photo, more out of habit than anything else, and drove on, feeling a slight thrill of adventure. I kept driving. The landscape didn't change, but the atmosphere did. The color of the sky grew heavier, darker, as if a storm was brewing in the cosmos above. After an unmeasurable distance, the road signs were long gone. I spotted the second crescent. This one was larger, more imposing, and drowned in a deep, unnerving shadow that seemed to drink the moonlight. I stopped the car, the engine's silence suddenly deafening. I got out and took another picture, trying to capture the eerie sight. But when I checked the camera's display, my breath caught in my throat. The frame was blank, just a noisy black screen, as if the lens itself refused to see what was right in front of me. A chill that had nothing to do with the desert night ran down my spine. I tried to rationalize it. A technical glitch, perhaps? I grabbed my notebook and wrote, "Second rock mark, crescent-shaped." Possibly an old navigational sign or an ancient path marker. My hand was a little shaky, but I forced myself to stay calm. I was a researcher, after all. There had to be a logical explanation. I got back in the car and continued driving until I reached the third crescent. And that was where everything began to collapse. The sand on the road looked smoother now, almost polished, as though it was being rearranged after every vehicle passed. That's when I glanced in my rearview mirror. My heart stopped. There were no tire tracks. The sand behind me was perfectly pristine, as if my car had simply materialized on the road. I looked ahead, and a wave of pure dread washed over me. The view was the exact same one I had just seen minutes ago. The same rock, the same tilt of shadow, the same endless road stretching into nothingness. I frantically checked the odometer. It hadn't moved. Not a single digit had turned. Only then did it hit me I wasn't moving forward. I was repeating something. Panic set in. I gripped the steering wheel and tried to turn back, to escape this impossible loop. But the road no longer had a direction. It felt like I was on a cosmic treadmill. No matter which way I turned, all I could see was the first moon again, its familiar crescent shape now a mocking grin in the darkness. I grabbed my notebook, my hands shaking so much I could barely write. Maybe I took a wrong turn, but I knew that was a lie. I paused, then added the terrifying truth. Or maybe the road itself has turned. The loop continued more times than I could count. Each time I passed the first moon, I felt a small part of myself fade away, a memory, a feeling, a piece of who I was. The journey became a blur. I no longer knew where it began, or if it ever would end. The desert was no longer just a place. It was a state of being. Then, one time, after what felt like the 100th loop, I saw something different. A faint light in the distance. Another car. Someone else was out here. A tidal wave of relief rushed through me finally. Another soul in this suffocating emptiness. I wasn't alone. I sped up, desperate to reach them, to break this curse. As I drove closer, I froze. The air in my lungs turned to ice. The man driving that other car, it was me. The same face etched with the same terror and confusion. The same worn-out shirt. The same notebook lying on the passenger seat. He stared at me steadily, without shock, without surprise, as if he had known me all along, as if he had been waiting. We passed each other in slow motion, two versions of the same man, trapped in an eternal, silent exchange. I don't know which one of us kept going forward or which one was sent backward. After that encounter, time lost all meaning. The odometer was frozen. The fuel gauge never dropped. The moons no longer shifted. It felt as if the road was now inside my mind, circling endlessly, erasing itself as it went. My own thoughts became a loop. First moon, second moon, third moon. I stopped writing. I stopped taking pictures. What was the point? All I did was count the moons, the silent sentinels of my damnation. 1, 2, 3. I drove until I reached the last one. There, I stopped the car and got out. I felt the road watching me. I felt the desert itself smiling, a vast ancient consciousness that had finally trapped its latest curiosity. I opened my notebook one last time. My hand was steady, now resigned. I wrote my final note and never continued. If you find these pages, do not count the moons. The third one doesn't like to be counted. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next descent into the unknown. Stay safe out there.